A week into the biggest football tournament on earth, the story is becoming more complicated than anyone expected. On one hand, the football has been spectacular. New nations are making history. Underdogs are producing unforgettable performances. Stadiums are packed, and the atmosphere in many cities has been electric. But beneath those celebrations, another story is quietly developing. Because despite the goals, the drama, and the record crowds, there are now 5 warning signs that suggest this World Cup could still be remembered for something very different. Not because the football has failed, but because everything around it may be under increasing strain. Let's go through them honestly, one at a time, because the full picture is more nuanced than either the celebration narrative or the disaster narrative would have you believe. Warning sign number 1. Logistics are being pushed to the limit. This tournament is unlike any World Cup in history. 3 host nations, 16 different cities, thousands of miles separating venues, multiple time zones. It sounds exciting on paper, but in practice, it has created an enormous logistical challenge. Fans are spending huge amounts of time and money simply moving between matches. Teams are dealing with long travel schedules. Media crews and tournament staff are operating across distances never before seen at a World Cup. Even minor disruptions, bad weather, delayed flights, transportation issues, have the potential to create serious problems because the tournament's geography is simply so vast. The World Cup has never been this spread out before, and the further the tournament progresses, the greater the pressure on the system becomes. Warning sign number 2. Extreme weather is already affecting events. The weather has become one of the tournament's most unpredictable variables. Some cities are experiencing intense heat. Others have seen heavy rain and storm conditions. Certain fan zones have faced weather-related disruptions, while supporters attending outdoor events have had to adapt to rapidly changing conditions. The challenge isn't just discomfort, it's unpredictability. With matches spread across multiple climate zones, organisers are effectively managing several different tournaments at once, and weather doesn't negotiate. One severe storm, one dangerous heatwave, or one major disruption could instantly become the story of the tournament. Warning sign number 3. Security concerns have not disappeared. Whenever an event attracts millions of people from around the world, security becomes one of its greatest tests. Massive crowds create enormous pressure on transport networks, public spaces, and local authorities. Fan zones, airports, and city centres all become critical points that require constant monitoring. Most of the time, these systems work, but major international tournaments have repeatedly shown that even a single security incident can dominate headlines and completely change public perception. The challenge for organisers is not simply delivering great football, it's ensuring that millions of visitors can move safely through some of North America's largest cities without major incidents. And as the tournament enters its most important stages, the pressure only increases. Warning sign number 4. The human dimension behind the celebration. Mega events bring opportunities, but they also bring consequences. In several host cities, debates have emerged over rising costs, housing pressures, local disruptions, and the impact of large-scale preparations on everyday residents. Supporters arrive for a month of celebration. Residents continue living with the long-term consequences. These conversations may not dominate match broadcasts, but they form part of the tournament's broader story. Because a World Cup isn't only measured by goals and trophies, it's also judged by what it leaves behind. And history has shown that legacy debates often become just as important as the football itself. Warning sign number 5. Expectations have become almost impossible to meet. This may be the biggest warning sign of all. The 2026 World Cup has been marketed as the greatest tournament ever staged, the largest, the most ambitious, the most attended, the most global. Those expectations are enormous, and enormous expectations create enormous pressure. Because when something is presented as the ultimate sporting event, every problem becomes magnified. A transportation delay becomes a crisis. A weather disruption becomes a major story. An officiating controversy becomes a global debate. The bigger the event becomes, the harder it is to satisfy everyone. And this World Cup may simply be too big to escape criticism. Here's the honest picture. The football has been fantastic.
The atmosphere has often been incredible. Millions of fans are creating unforgettable memories. All of that is true. But the 5 warning signs we've discussed haven't disappeared. They exist alongside the celebrations, not in opposition to them. A tournament can produce brilliant football and still face genuine logistical, environmental, security, and organizational challenges. Both realities can be true at the same time. And perhaps that is what makes this World Cup so fascinating, because we may be watching one of the greatest football spectacles ever created, while also witnessing one of the most difficult tournaments ever attempted. What do you think? Are these warning signs being exaggerated because the World Cup always attracts criticism? Or do you believe these issues could genuinely define how people remember the 2026 tournament long after the final whistle? Let me know in the comments, because this story is still unfolding. And in football, everything can change in a single night.